Good evening. We will start our meeting as we normally do with prayer. I didn't ask anybody, so I guess you got me tonight. So everybody, those that would want to participate, please. Those that choose not to, that is your wishes. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight asking you to guide us through this meeting. Give us the words and the wisdom to know what we need to be doing and to handle the city's business. We pray for protection over our workers, our citizens, and for families who have lost loved ones in the last 48 hours. We pray that our city will put down the guns and begin to do a new life and rejoice in life and not take life. These things we ask in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. And now we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. I'm guilty, so I've already done it. My council people, please put your phones on silent or mute. If your phone goes off, I'm gonna own it because I need me a new iPhone. Audience, please put your phone on vibrate. And I got a script to do. Okay. So, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Lamar Sylvia. Present. Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Bench. Present. Mayor Pro Tem Balls is absent. Councilmember Scherzer. Present. Councilmember Ostash.
Present from Saginaw Mission.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
Mayor Moore.
Present.
We have 8 members present and 1 absent.
Thank you. Do we have any announcements?
I do not, Mayor. I don't have any this evening, so that will take us to public input.
We welcome all who have signed up to speak tonight and to address the council tonight. Hearing from our citizens is very important, and we ask that you speak slowly and clearly so that we don't miss what you have to say. When called to the podium, let us know if you are speaking solely for yourself or on behalf of a group. A speaker is allowed 3 minutes. We're gonna watch that tonight, y'all. 3 minutes. When the buzzer goes off, cut it off. Okay? We ask that the presentations be courteous and respectful to the members of the public and to those who are watching on SGTV and to the council, so we can give serious considerations to your concerns. And a follow-up will be referred to the staff. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first speaker tonight is Dion Hardy.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, my interest is, I have 710 East Genesee, 712 East Genesee. As we all know, familiar with the area, over the weekend, we had a storm, and 708 is coming down. Now, from my understanding is the land bank owns it, and somebody else owns the one on the end. And I'm kind of concerned, like, what is the land bank going to do with that property? It's been sitting up since 2017, I believe, when they came and tore some of it down and put a tarp over it. And I'm just really trying to figure out and ask the right questions or understand what's the right process to go to even figure out how to even get a property from the land bank. Because on the side of my building, it's a property. Right behind it, it's attached. My building is attached to a garage, and the land bank owns that. There's nothing been going on with none of the empty space there, and I've been working hard for what I can do to put my building together, you know. And I hate to see the building in the middle get tore down because it's actually taken away from my downtown. So I was wondering what could be done to save that building or to, you know, bring downtown back. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Our next speaker is Alex Mixter.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Alex Mixter. I have a house over at
602 South Warren, and I'm here today about the area of East Genesee that is just between Wedekind Park, that was just referenced, that had a structural failure over the weekend. The very first time that I ever made public comment, there were some bricks that had come off of a building that was owned by the land bank on East Genesee in 2016. It was determined that the efforts were too 11th hour, and after that meeting, I vowed to never again be too late to the party here. I got to work identifying structures that needed advocacy, and for at least 3 years I've been paying attention to the area that is just east of Warren on East Genesee. I've been slowly building I've been building a working relationship with the county land bank, and I've had plenty of meetings with them. And the land bank property on East Genesee is one of the key areas that I've advocated for directly. I've been observing it regularly, and I've met with the land bank on multiple occasions about its condition and what it would require for its repair. I asked the manager one day why we always seem to have the money for demolition but never for repair, and his response was that no one had come up with a plan, and I took that as an order. So we want to create an initiative around the advocacy of the properties that are in public ownership. I believe that any property that we, the taxpayer, own should be well maintained and moved into development. We want to give these properties the attention they deserve, and we want to be a part of the discussion for stabilizing and developing this particular property. And we would get to work clearing the building out, repairing the windows, drawing floor plans, writing up financials, and also marketing the building for development. Across the street, there's a small building that was recently renovated by a group called the Youth Development Corporation, which is providing young men and women who have dropped out of high school a chance to explore skilled trades, all while they earn their diploma. This building is also part of our DDA, which happens to fund facade renovations. And this building could also create at least half a dozen apartments and 2 storefronts. And then behind it, there is a garage that could provide covered parking to all 3 buildings on the block, all with a public lot next door, all owned by the land bank. This property and this actual the 2 blocks here on East Genesee are actually on the National Register of Historic Places. And that was registered in 1982, which at the time had 23 historic structures. Today we have 9. In recent months, I received a grant through Infuse, which actually received the grant through the land bank to receive assistance in the development work that I'm doing currently in Saginaw. And I've been working with Jennifer Acosta, who could not be here today, but whose comments have been provided to you. And she has been a truly exceptional coach, trying to walk through the details of the financing and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into a development. And I'm here today that as the idea came together, I'm here to say that this idea has legs. And with any situation like this, we are faced with either tearing the building down or repairing it. We want to see an investment into this building. I, along with closest friends, have recently purchased a building across the street, and we want to see something great happen here. I appreciate your time, and I'd like to invite you to the Lee Mansion anytime you can.
Our next speaker is Jeffrey Bowles.
Evening, all. I'll keep it brief. I'm here in support of Alex and what he's bringing to the council's attention. He knows far more about it than me. I just will say that to button it up, I think he's bringing it here. So because we have a problem, an ongoing problem with the land bank, and we need our council and our city to get involved. You know, we're talking about city properties. Yes, they're the county, but we feel that the city needs to get involved with the land bank. You know, we have a lot of overgrown lots in the city that they own. We don't know if they're being fined for those. I know personal people that, you know, citizens that own properties like that, they get fined, but we have overgrown lots that they own that seemingly don't get any attention. So I implore you as a citizen of the Saginaw to get involved in that process. Additionally, I want to, bring up ARPA again. That's why I'm here. Also, I noticed that on the City of Saginaw's Facebook page that you guys put out an event that's supposed to happen in September, some type of planning session. I just want to go on record that I don't agree with that timeline. I think we should be doing that a lot quicker. We shouldn't be waiting until September. I've been in contact with a lot of you guys individually about ARPA. My feelings are known on it, and I'm going to continue to come here and implore you to not slow this process down. This is not to disrespect any of you. It's simply that I disagree with the timeline. It's far too important to put off until September. We're in July. We're gonna go through all of August and then get to September to then just get to the start of talking about art, but that's far too slow of a process. By September, we should have had 2 or 3 or even 4 public meetings. You can't just plan one meeting, just one meeting, and hear from all the citizens in the city. You got 50,000 people here, and you have a lot of ideas, great ideas from the people that need to be heard. I implore you to please quicken that timeline a little bit. And finally, with water, that's another thing that I'm here for, and I'm in support of Councilman Flores' attempt to bring that conversation to an affordability conversation, because we won't have, we can't, just talk about, assistance the whole time. We have a deeper problem. We have an affordability problem, and, shut-offs can't happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Audrey Beatty.
Thank you. With respect to all to whom honor is due. One of the most pressing needs throughout our community is the ability and opportunities to work together for the good of the total community. We cannot expect our children, when they go to school and grow up and are raised in our communities, different sides of the river, they do not have a vehicle to come together. What I am proposing, first of all, I'd like to know with whom I can meet, sit. I have a group of people that are very much interested. The idea was posed as to developing that vacant lot at 20th and Holland into an area for females or girls to learn to play soccer. There are all kinds of opportunities, basketball, tennis, golf, for people who can afford to engage in those. But for parents who do not have transportation and who have females also, we would like to give them some opportunities other than just having boyfriends when they get to a certain age. I know we have a soccer program across the river. I've been trying to get information on it, but I haven't had much success. But the reason I'm so adamant about this is because when children learn early on, they grow up through their school years. They can even be filtered into the big soccer program. But the important thing is they're given some other skills other than just dating and whatever. I was going to, one of the reasons I'm so adamant is because I tackled a project like that when I was finishing my master's degree in Kalamazoo. And what I learned is that those boys and girls that came together on the weekends early on, as they grew up in the community, they were able to work together. They sat in councils and other organizations. They worked together, and it was not like they had, there were no gang situations. We didn't have that. I've been checking through the years. When I finished, I turned the program over to someone else. But I was reminded that they didn't have those concerns. And I'm just asking you to take into consideration that there is a real need for opportunities for girls whose parents do not have transportation and other things. And I know I don't have much time, but whatever I don't get a chance to discuss today, you can look forward to seeing me, because I will be coming back. I have many ideas, and I got more years behind me than ahead of me. But I also would like to, how many seconds?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Audrey.
Our final speaker tonight is Jacob Way.
You make me follow her. I appreciate that. I'm Jacob Way. I'm the president of Oxeye Media. It's a company actually located right in Saginaw. We just moved into the old Trip and See building at 301 Cass. I just wanted to come today and thank you, everybody, for your hospitality. I've already gotten to meet some great people, including Alex, John, and Natalie, and there's so many amazing people in this city. We are really excited to be bringing people to the city as well. So we have 14 employees, and 10 of them, including myself, actually moved to Saginaw for the job. One of the really important things when we're looking at employees and trying to encourage them to move into the community is to try and find housing that's affordable but interesting and neat. Downtown is much more interesting for our employees than out in the suburbs. We run a comic book and board game publishing company, so they're looking for fun things to do at night. There's a lot of entertainment aspects that they're looking for. So I am excited to start growing the community for those things, and I look forward to working with a lot of these amazing people I've already met. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, next on your agenda is the remarks of council.
I will remind council, you have 3 minutes as well. 3 minutes. Please use your time wisely. And tonight we will start with Councilman Williams.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I will keep these comments short. First, thank you to our speakers. Appreciate you all coming out tonight. And thank you to our tech team for making sure that Councilman Ostash could be with us. It's good to see him. I'd like to take just a few moments just to express to our parents and homeowners that have children in their home. If you have guns, be it legal or illegal, please practice safety. Please practice safety. I understand we had an incident with a young boy, was 4 years old, Chief? 4 years old, accidental shooting, but it's imperative that we as adults and parents practice gun safety to keep our children safe. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Bitch.
Thank you and good evening. I do want to thank our public speakers for being here tonight. We always appreciate hearing from the public, and welcome to Mr. Way. It's good to have you here in Saginaw. To Mr. Mixter and Mr. Hardy, we appreciate you being here. Alex, I know you and I'm familiar with all the work that you've done since the Lee Mansion endeavor first began, and we are very lucky to have your talent and your passion being channeled here in Saginaw to save these buildings and towards historic preservation. I don't know exactly what the standing is with the building. I think that the land bank has been obviously contacted, and there's conversation there as far as getting people in to inspect the building. Frequently, and I know I'm one of the ones who have said that, we balance our concerns with the land bank and other governmental agencies that we have to work with trying to maintain a positive relationship with them. And I'm really, really hoping that this is one of those times where that positive relationship that we reference often is a benefit and can be utilized to find a way to save this building, because it does sound like we have citizens who have taken their own initiatives to improve that area, and I would hate to see their effort be, limited or even sabotaged because the middle building is in such disrepair. So I hope that it's something we can do. I don't know for sure without knowing. I'm not a historic preservationist by trade, and I don't know anything about engineering, but I certainly hope that that's something we can try to utilize that relationship there and see if we can do something about it. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Scherzer.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. To Councilman Ostash, I know you are dying to be in this chamber, but hope a speedy recovery to you. But it's good to see you as well. I also want to thank the public speakers for coming out tonight. I have said it probably every time that I've made comments that we truly appreciate what you have to say and the things that you bring forth to us. Is it Ox Eye? Did I get that right?
Yes,
okay.
Ox Eye Media.
Ox Eye Media, thank you for investing in Saginaw and in the city of Saginaw. We truly appreciate it, and welcome to the neighborhood. And in regards to the properties, I too probably share sentiments of some of my fellow colleagues, but You know, I am aware of Western Auto Building in that corridor, and somewhat a little part of the history in the back of it. But I too just hope, well, first of all, it disappoints me sometimes when I see that we, and I say we because it is a community, we allow our buildings to get to the point where you have no other options. I don't think we should get to that point. And I understand that there's some tough decisions that have to be made, but hopefully we can do this as a collective and for the best interest of the city. I love visiting cities and seeing their buildings and their downtown, and it saddens me when you see Saginaw going from 23 buildings down to 9. Because then what do you have left? You have streets and new buildings. And not saying that's a bad thing, but I definitely hope that we can come to a resolution, and there is an interest in that corridor, so hopefully we can work together so that interest stays and remains there. That is all I have.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash on live remote.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. I'm gonna do the best I can, being remote. So I just want to reiterate everything that my colleagues are saying about the buildings. And can you hear me better now? Don't hear about something? Okay. Anyways, I'll just make my comments brief. There is still rental assistance. I know through Mixter, through the COVID, there is a rental assistance program. So I would say just reach out to 211, and maybe they can provide some assistance. That I just saw was posted on the. And also, too, I want to thank everybody for all the well wishes. The reason I'm not in the council chambers tonight, and you might hear some of the conjunction in some of the recent news that I did, is I did contact COVID-19 while on vacation, and I am fully vaccinated. So I am one of those breakthrough cases. What I did find out, it was the Delta variant, which is 1,000 times more viral load than the regular COVID virus that we have out there, so it's highly contagious. I kind of pinpointed it right down to the point of what store I was in, and I was by myself, and Kevin had already left the store, and while we were traveling back, I was the only one who tested positive. So anyways, the message I'm trying to tell everybody right now is, I myself, you know, your brain kind of goes to a section where your mask is off, things are kind of feeling normal, and I kind of felt it. So my message to the public is, please, as an example of what happened to myself, I'm going back to my COVID protocols. My mask is going to be on once operational, and I can go back to stores, and I'm going to be sanitizing and protecting myself so that I can protect others. And so the news articles that I did is not about me, it's about you, because it's about you, and I just want to choose myself as an example. Mayor, it's all I really have because it's kind of hard being remote, so I can hear a lot of echoing in the chamber, so I can thanks everybody for everything.
It's okay, we'll see you at the next meeting in chambers. Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. We had 2 shootings since the last time that we had gotten together. One of a 4-year-old and then one of a 38-year-old. If anybody has any information on the shooting on North 19th Street, please call the 1-800-244-5245 Crime Stoppers. I'm planning on meeting with the Gifford organization. That's former Representative Kathy Gifford's organization about gun violence and what they can do to help Saginaw, because we are through another pandemic of crime that has to do with gun violence. So if any of my colleagues would like to meet with them, please get a hold of me after the meeting, and I'll let you know about what time the Zoom meeting is tomorrow, and then also how you can sign up to speak with them afterwards. Also, thank you so much for the Mexican American Council for hosting a Family Fun Day. It was fun, as promised, and I saw the mayor and Councilman Copeland there yesterday. In the middle of that, thanks to Councilmember Ostash, I went to get a COVID test, and I am negative, so I decided to show up today. But it is important to make sure that we're continuing to test for those of us that have been vaccinated. So if you have any questions about that, please call 211. Congratulations, and also I hope you feel better, Bill, and I hope to see you here next time. Congratulations to Indigo Dudley for Miss Saginaw County. That's a big deal. She's serving on one of our boards, so I want to give a shout out to her. That's amazing. Also, Kevin Jones is having a pop-up at 409 Adams Street. And it's an amazing exhibit. I haven't had a chance to go out there today, but I'm trying to get out there tomorrow for one of their functions. But if you'd like to have a private showing, please call 989-401-1076. And then last, my starter ended up going out in my car, and I was in the middle of talking with Manager Morales about ARPA money, and he offered me a ride. And I think that's a great example of what we can do when we come together as folks from Saginaw. And so it was good to talk with him on the way here about his dogs. And again, I want to highlight that because I think it's specific to Saginaw about what we can accomplish when we come together. So thanks so much.
Next, we have Councilman Copeland.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to our public comments. It's really great to see everyone, Mrs. Beatty. As long as you come here, I'm going to be here to listen. So I'll be here every meeting to hear you. Mr. Hardy, it's good seeing you. Remember you from my enterprise days. So, Alex, as everyone has already stated, I'm really hoping that we can see some things happen. Having the chance, and thank you for the invite for allowing me to walk through the facility that you purchased and to see the work that you're doing. It's a pleasure to see that we have someone that is willing to invest in our downtown area. So I'm hoping that there will be a great partnership with our county land bank to see what we can do to support the structures, the remaining structures that we have. I do want to share, and again, welcome to Saginaw, Mr. Way. One thing I like, I'm so happy that your employees are here in the city. Thank you for doing that, because you didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. That really speaks to your dedication to the city of Saginaw. I appreciate that. I do, and Mr. Bulls, thank you again for being here. I know I'm going to see you every meeting until the 17th, so thank you for being here. I do want to share again, congratulations to this weekend. We had a really great community. Was that me? Oh, no, okay. I just want to say again, we had a really great, some really great events this weekend celebrating the city and celebrating our families. Mr. Bobby DeLeon, they had a great opportunity. I was hoping to hit the piñata, but it was only for the young people. So, you know, that's okay. And then Mr. Chris Watson, who did a 2-day event at Cater to You, just really had a lot of young people coming out, even from outside the city of Saginaw, just to show off our city. I was happy to see that. Some good food. Also, I do want to say congratulations to Indigo Dudley, who was recently appointed to the Arts Council on her Miss Saginaw County win. And I do want to share my condolences to the family of one of our local businesses, the matriarch of the family of Annie Mae's Cafe, Mrs. Annie Mae Bridgewater. I want to send my condolences to their family. I do want to let everyone know we're talking about money coming to the city. We do have a pitch competition coming up. If you are an entrepreneur, the Saginaw Soup Pitch Competition is coming up on September 20th. So if you know any entrepreneurs, a 30-second elevator pitch, give us your best. Give them your best, because I'm not doing anything with it, but give them your best. And there's going to be some financial support for that. Again, there is money available if you need assistance with your water, consumers, rent, taxes. Contact Saginaw United Way. And before I end, I don't know how much, I usually can peek and see my time, but I can't see it right now. I do want to say I'm so happy to serve the city because I believe great things for our city. I won't stop saying it. We have a lot of stuff going on, but the more we begin to speak well, continue to acknowledge the change that we need, but continue to speak well, we are going to see great things. Thank you.
You want to play it close to the wire, don't you? You just want to play it close. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. First, I'd like to say thank you to all of the persons that did public comment. I'm very interested in each and every one of your ideas. Contact me. I contact you, however we want to do it. Very interested in it. If I can call the city manager about a dead tree, I'm sure the things that you all mentioned today, hopefully we can come together and work on these things as a council member and the citizens that we serve. Secondly, I'd like to say thank you to all of the young people in the gallery for coming to tonight's council meeting. You all have a blessed day, and thank you very much.
Well, my Mayor Pro Tem is not here yet, so I guess it's my turn, huh? The last 2 weeks have been totally exciting. I've been nonstop. And part of the reason for being nonstop is this. I can't ask any of you guys out there to do anything that I won't do. So I took part in the Dunk Tank. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff that you wouldn't think that a mayor would do. I'd like to piggyback on Councilman Flores and Copeland. The Mexican American Council had a glorious activity on yesterday. And we also had under the tree on the south end, they had a picnic. And you talk about something that was nice, they had everything from pinto beans, collard greens, they had it all. They had all kinds of meat, and so I ate like a little pig. For the last couple of weeks I have been, and I'm inviting my council persons. On Wednesday, I will be at Willie Thompson with Light Up the City. You don't have to come if you don't want to. I'm inviting you. Every Friday, I've had Councilwoman Scherzer, Councilwoman Benz, and Councilman Copeland, and Councilman Mayor Pro Tem Balls. We've been at Friday Night Live. The citizens need to know who we are. They know who I am, because I'm dancing all through the city. But I need for my fellow council persons to get involved. I keep saying it. Find something constructive to work on. There is a lot that needs to be done. Mr. Copeland, Councilman Copeland, he summed it up because he knows where my head is. We're poised for a comeback, okay? We never got right from the last recession. We gonna get right this time. But the recession is gonna be together. And my slogan is gonna be next year, love. Love has gotta be the answer. We gotta break these silos and stop fighting with one another. Even from this table, we gotta stop fighting with one another. How can you fight when you don't even know what you're fighting for? So, my public speakers, you know I love y'all, because you keep me on my toes. Mr. Bulls, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, but I'm gonna figure it out. Because I know what you're saying, and I do hear you. Again, I hear you. And I heard all of the things that need to happen. You know how they happen? You make it happen. You gotta be a dreamer. You make things happen. And instead of talking at us, I like Mr. Councilman Flores, he said he's doing something with the guns. I'm obedient. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next order of business is reports from the manager.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So first I would comment on the, I didn't have it in my notes, but the building on Genesee. I do know from the meeting that was today that the land bank is engaging Kibbe Engineering to monitor the building and review it structurally, which, if you recall, some members of council probably when the wall collapsed on the building on Washington, we had Kibbe do the same thing. They might have been monitoring it prior to that back wall collapse as well. So they're very experienced structural engineers, so I think they'll do a good job with managing that. And just looking at the land bank, and a few of you did mention it, but it is important that we continue to work with the treasurer and the land bank, because they don't have to take our properties. The land bank does not have to exist in Saginaw County, and if they did not exist, we would own those buildings. And that's not a liability that we can pay either, so I think it is in our best interest to continue to work with them. Having said that, I think there are options, and I really will commend Alex Mixter, because I did meet with him when we were looking at the Jezreel house, and he did come to my office, and we talked about it, and he found someone who would invest in it, and on that project since that time. And I think it was a good opportunity for Alex and to learn about that from Mr. DePerry as well. And I think he probably has a good grounding now in what it is to get those kind of projects moving. So we hope to see more developers step up, because it's not an inexpensive venture, so you do need the investors, and maybe some of the buildings are a good size that that we can attract that. To have the larger buildings, we know are a significant amount of investment. Will maybe take a little more work on our part to bring those developers in, but these some of the smaller buildings, I think, are good opportunities for investors and also preservationists. I will mention too that the land bank, I'm not sure about this past year, but they had been paying, I think, anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 to cut lots in the city for the past several years. So they do fund most of the cutting that we do in the city, regardless if it's their properties or not. So I did want to mention that as well. So most council members know, and most of you have participated, maybe even perhaps before you were on council, you may have come to the strategic planning sessions. We have those annually, and typically they're in January. This past year, unfortunately, we did have to, I didn't want to say cancel it, but postpone it, but it's several months postponed. And when we go into that planning process, we knew that there would be a lot of interest in this ARPA funding. So we did want to have an event at a location that can accommodate a large crowd. So we're looking at that and trying to get the best pricing and the best site available. So I know I've talked to a couple council members about it, Councilman Ostash as well, but we were looking at dates and when we can fit in there, but we were able to get the ballroom at the Temple Theater. With the events they have on Fridays, September 17th is the day that worked the best for us and for their event staff. We do plan to begin at 8:30 a.m. that day, which is usually when we do start these strategic planning sessions, and we'll spend a good 4 to 5 hours discussing the American Rescue Plan Act. Item 3 on tonight's agenda is approval to engage public sector consultants as a facilitator for our planning session. As many of you probably know, we have utilized facilitators at our previous meetings, especially when we were looking at goals and objectives, as well as mission statements. And public sector consultants is one that was recommended by the Michigan Municipal League and the Department of Treasury. PSC is an independent Michigan-based public policy firm with a mission to improve quality of life for residents in Michigan and beyond. For over 40 years, PSC has relied on unbiased, nonpartisan research to deliver enduring outcomes. They are a certified women-owned small business that served hundreds of agencies, nonprofits, and regulated industries over the years. So you'll notice there's a not-to-exceed amount of $10,000 in the council communication. The fee for facilitation is about $3,600. That's consistent with our previous facilitators that we've used in the past, utilized ICMA and SVSU in the past. The additional funding is intended to cover, if it's council's desire to do so, they provide additional services such as stakeholder engagement and services where you can leverage other funding sources. So give you an idea about why I think it's important to be considerate when you're doing this type of planning is from talking to them, there is a lot of other money in the American Rescue Plan that we could potentially leverage as they roll those programs out. So perhaps there's additional broadband money that's not included in our funding that maybe if we allocate funding for that, we could leverage additional funding from the federal government that's included in that legislation. And all of that discussion I think is important to have and that will be part of our strategic planning session, and also give you an opportunity to decide how to proceed with some of those other stakeholder meetings. And the mayor and I have talked about a little bit whether you want to base it on your quadrants that you currently have or how you want to do it. That's a good opportunity to work with that and lay out your long-range plan. Additionally, we'll forward them the council mission, the council's goals and objectives, the master plan, which is just getting finished, downtown parking study. We have a few other economic development plans that we'll be sending them that they would review prior to that. That's part of the process for planning for this, which is why it's not next week, it's September 17th. There's a lot that goes into that. So it's okay to say this, but I also I did invite the Michigan Department of Treasury to attend, and I've asked them if they would pay for it too. So I did slip that in there. So we won't know until, I haven't heard back from them. Hopefully they'll at least attend. Hopefully they'll give us $10,000 to pay for it too. I've also invited Dr. Scorsoni. His staff is doing a lot of work with other communities right now. They're doing a lot of work with Flint for the ARPA funding, and they're compiling a report, I think, it may even be cities across the nation, that what they're planning to do with the funds so it can help provide additional ideas, and that's not ready yet. But when they do have it ready, they'll provide that to us as well. And I think the final group, hopefully, the mayor will be able to help us to get MML to attend our planning session too, because they have a lot of information that they can share with us as well. So I think it's something we can look forward to, but I think we'll have a lot of resources there that can assist with the planning and the long-term goals that we have in lining up the expending of those funds with that. They'll also, I think, with Michigan Treasury and Dr. Scorsoni and public sector consultants, they'll be able to guide us on what is allowable and what's not allowable. The comment period did end July 17th, but they have not issued those amendments at this time. When I talked to Dr. Scorsoni a few weeks ago, I think he mentioned he expected the amendments to be in the hundreds of pages. So hopefully we'll see that sometime soon. And we'll provide more information as we get closer to that date. We do have a report that was requested as well from council, and Beth London is here tonight to give an update on the Wix Park project. So Beth?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Moore and City Council. Yes, I understand there were some questions about which option we were going to go to last council meeting for our Wix Park DNR Trust Fund grant. And we plan to proceed to close the road between the playground area where the basketball courts are and the parking area that's just south of Fordney Street, between M13 and East Street and the basketball courts or the playground area, which is a future playground area, would be a separated trail, and the road would remain in place. So with that, I think, does everyone understand what we're proposing? Okay. Questions? Yes.
Good evening. And I was one of the council persons to go out to Wix Park and meet and look over the drafts of the proposals. So what are you saying, that cutting the road off, that's your proposal, or is that what you all are asking the council to agree?
That's what we're planning to do.
Okay.
And I think there were just questions about which option we were doing. It really hasn't changed. That's what we stated when we did our presentation, and that's what it said in the actual council communication. So, okay?
Okay, so let me get this straight. Okay. So what you're saying is that you all have already decided that you're going with that particular proposal. So you don't bring that to council to agree, not to agree? I'm just
No.
kind of, I thought that was the process, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
I thought this was I thought this was a project that we did talk about because there was tours that was done.
Right.
And at that time, it was so that people could look. And I thought that the decision was from this private donor group because we don't have the funds to do it. And there's outside funds as well as some funds from the city, that can do this.
Yeah, let me just say, you did ask when we did the presentation some questions.
Right.
So Go High has adopted that park.
Go High.
Okay, and Sharon Dinsey is not really the person that's contacting us or working with us now. It's Debbie Melkonian.
Right.
And they do have the seeds group working out there to do mowing and weed whacking. There's other groups out there that are proposing to undertake redoing the pavilion, but all of that will be funneled through Go High to determine, it's going to be their decision on what will be done and what people will raise money for.
I've been to the park in the rain, and it's gorgeous. I mean, you wouldn't even believe that some parts that they're fixing up. The young men from Seed, they were here last meeting. They're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, and these are 3 young men. So we need to get some more young men and women out there to pull weeds because they're really doing a good job out there. Any other questions?
I just want to make sure. So Debbie came last meeting, and so what she was proposing is what, I'm a visual person, so when you said the streets, I need to see a picture. I'm sorry. But what Debbie was proposing is what you all are going with by not affecting traffic to affect the neighborhood house?
Go High wants to leave the road in place and make it one-way southbound. That's what's in their plan. If anyone has read the report, I don't know, it's like 60 pages. And what I would like to say about it is they have improvements that they're planning at Fordney Street, improvements they're planning at Center Street, and improvements that they're planning where Ortman dead ends or Ortman ends at the parking lot where the basketball courts are, the old pavilion. And there's improvements on the southern piece that goes east-west from East Street to the river. And all of those improvement areas can be accessed if we build the parking lot and the access point at Center Street. Originally, we wanted to close it at Naval Reserve Drive, but that would have provided less access to the basketball courts and where they're going to put a playground. It's a STEM playground and a baseball field, I think a picnic area. So we thought this was a good compromise. And the reason why we're proposing that is we cannot maintain that road. But with road money, we could maintain it as a trail because it's parkland. So.
Yes, I think the previous presentation may have caused some confusion because there were options. Those were options that engineering and public services were considering and working with those other organizations. Yes. We typically don't bring multiple park projects to council for approval. So in the last council communication, I believe it did denote this is what engineering and public services and those groups they're working with, they did determine to go with this option. Is that accurate, Beth?
Yes.
So young people, if you haven't seen the park, you need to get with Vicky, with the city manager's office and take a tour. Then you'll know. I keep hearing visual. That's good. I am too. I'm anal too. So that means that if we go look at it, then we can see it. If you look at it, then you'll understand. Did your question get answered, Councilwoman Silver?
No, I'm still confused because what I'm saying is that I was asked to come out and meet, and I thought, so evidently correct me if I'm wrong, I think I've been corrected a little bit, but I thought me going out there was for me to share these 3 proposals with council. That's why I asked the question at last meeting about Wix Park. So I thought it was gonna be a discussion, I tell them what I saw, et cetera. But so I guess I was confused on that, so, thank you.
Yeah, I think we have.
I think there was a question at the last meeting too about the iron.
The
There's
Iron Trail.
confusion about the Iron Bell Trail too. That is a designated state trail. That's there. I think there was, I don't know if it was a speaker mentioned that wouldn't be designated, but that's been designated for a few years now. And I'll tell you that, that brings people into the city, traveling that way, and they'll tell you, that, initially the state was going to have that trail go around the city. So, Tom Miller and I met with the DNR several times to make sure that we did have that trail coming through Wix Park, through Ojibwe, and on the east side of the river here until it goes off into Carlton Township. So there's been a lot of work on this whole Wix Park Trail project is probably, we've probably been working on this for 5 or 6 years at least.
8 years. We started working on it when I got on council. So it's now coming to fruition.
It is a very long-term project, and they were successful in getting funds from the state for planning. And, you know, I can echo this, the work that they're doing with these citizen groups, that is really what's getting work done in our park system. Essentially, if you look at this trail and what the work they're doing and the cooperation they have with Beth and her team, that $2 million tennis complex that's being built with all donated funds. We didn't put any money into that. They might come and ask, just so you know, but we haven't put any money into that yet. I think they're 200,000 short was the last I saw from the report, but we really are relying on a lot of these groups, and hopefully some more of them pop up. That's really what has brought the baseball back to Hoyt Park as well. That's all volunteer, all fundraising, all great. So it's good to hear a project like the soccer project, and hopefully maybe we can get some of the groups together too, because I've been approached by other groups that do want to do soccer or some other events. So rather than having multiple groups doing the similar project, it'd be great to kind of get some other groups together.
You know, friends of Hoyt Park, they're working on a soccer thing. I talked to Larry Breckhoffer, I think I'm saying it right, but he said that they were getting ready to do, they were gonna try, let me say try. So Ms. Audrey, that's something for you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Beth. And that concludes the management update.
Any questions of the city manager? Yes, sir.
Regarding the master plan, you said that they were wrapping that up. Will there be any community conversations regarding that?
We have 3 members of the planning commission here, so I'll kick it over to Ms. Jones first to comment on that.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem are here, but council. Yes, we're in conversations with our consultant on the public participation component, because it's a very important part of the master plan. So it is forthcoming. We'll have more information. We do have a planning commission meeting tomorrow, and they're going to be discussing updates to the master plan. So it is forthcoming.
Is that meeting open to the public?
Yes, it is. It's at 6 o'clock here in council chambers.
And then
and please come.
And then my last question is regarding the September 17th. For me, I'm taking off work to do that so I can be there. For those who cannot take off work, will there be a way for them to submit their, whatever we may talk about, is there a way that we can, between now and September 17th, that we can either through the consultant or through the city, have a survey that's out there that we can begin to share with people to start collecting information and thoughts?
Well, we'll once this contract is approved, we'll talk more with the consultant I don't know if that's better before or after our planning session. Anyone can submit comments to the clerk ahead of time if they are unable to attend. So we're always available for comments. You know, if the public wants to comment about these funds or some projects they're seeing, public input during the council meeting is a good time to talk about those projects if you have projects. And then once we start moving through this process, if there are quadrant meetings or other things like that, that will give even better opportunity, I think, for that one-on-one. And if those meetings are better had at 6 p.m. or something like that, then that's something I think you would want to include in your plan, in your long-term plan.
Thank you.
So to answer your question, yes, we will be having some more opera meetings in the afternoon, so people don't have to take off of work.
Thank you.
And I'm saying that because I think people think we having one meeting and that's it. No, we're not. We talked about that this morning. We're not just doing one-shot meeting. It's not just a one-pop shot. We're gonna open it up into quadrants. And you can cross quadrants, which is areas of neighborhood groups. So if you wanna come to all four, come to all four. If you wanna come to one, come to one. But you will have an input, citizens, you will, if you choose to.
In the discussions, I think we can design different ways for that. There are people who are more interested in electronic surveys or online surveys. We can probably design those to collect that input, or if you want to meet in person and do the interaction, we can plan those as well.
So if you meet in the evening, somebody got to bring the cookies and the coffee and the punch. Okay. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. We are now at the consent agenda.
Okay. The agenda has been available at City Hall and on the city webpage and on SGTV, Channel 191. I need a motion leaving room for exceptions for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved in support. Do I have any exceptions?
I had exceptions for 2, 3, and 13.
Are there any more?
2, 3, excuse me, and what other number? 13.
13.
1, 2, and 13.
2, 3, and 13.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, 2, 3, I'm sorry. 2, 3, and 13. Is there any more? Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Exception number 2, approve the amendments to the fiscal year 2022 budget to recognize changes that have occurred during the July period. Councilmember Flores.
Hi, thank you. Just reading over this previously, the increase of $1.1 million, where it says above for any recognized errors, omissions, changes that occurred in the month of July. I apologize. This is the first time that, as a council member, I've noticed this. Is there any, I know there's explanations and justifications specifically. I guess I'd like to know about the buyback program that's mentioned in the first paragraph, and then also, let's see, starting there, and then I'll continue as we go down.
Okay, so this is mine. So what we do every year, and this is actually a requirement as we go through the fiscal year, is to recognize any omissions, deletion, changes. The month of July is important because we close out our year, June 30th. So any purchases that you have approved towards the latter part of the year, that has to carry over into the next fiscal year. So you can see that, I would say in February, you approved the purchase of a vehicle through the Michigan buyback deal. Well, that was already approved by you. I just have to make sure that we're able to pay for it when the product actually arrives. So that, for a lot of the different justifications, you're seeing that this purchase order already exists. I'm just recognizing the money in the current fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you. I move to accept item number 2.
It's been moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any more discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Item number 3, approve the agreement with public sector consultants for an amount not to exceed $10,000 to facilitate the September 17, 2021 strategic planning session and to provide other counseling services for the American Rescue Plan grant funds. Councilmember Flores.
Yep. How long has this company been advising other cities, and how many other cities have they done? Just because it's been unprecedented that we have this amount of money coming in.
Well, they've been in business for 40 years, I think is what their proposal says, and they work with, I think, primarily with cities and counties and nonprofits, and so that's their main client base. They do produce a lot of public policy documents. They're currently working with Flint at this time on, I'm not sure if they're working on the ARPA funds, but some other COVID-related grant funds. They've provided, they are, I think, a go-to consulting resource for a lot of grant funds. There are other nonprofits in the city that have worked with them, but even regarding these new ARPA funds, they've produced informational sessions about these funds and allowable expenses and the grant rules they worked with. I think it's publicly available, I think, but it was with Grand Traverse County or Traverse City that they did some advising, and utilizing them was, I think, a good choice. And through my discussions with Michigan Department of Treasury and Dr. Scorsoni and MML, they've all worked with the organization. We're confident in them assisting us.
Great. Have they worked with the city of Saginaw with the CARES Act money at all?
We have not contracted with any consultants at this point. To date, I think primarily we worked with the MML in advisory capacity and Dr. Scorsoni, and talked to some degree with Michigan Treasury, but their primary focus at Treasury is going to be the non-entitlement cities. So I don't think they're in a position to assist us. I don't think the MML has the staffing to assist all of the cities in Michigan, and I think Dr. Scorsoni right now is primarily assisting Flint. So those are the, I think, all good options that we have.
Yeah. And then also, who would be the key staff members that are mentioned in the justification? Could you give an elaboration on that?
Well, as you know, we have limited staff, so you're probably looking at the 3. Ms. Jones, and I think her staff has reduced recently, so it'll be her and her analyst, and Lori Brown and Plant Moran, our controller, would all be working on this as well.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You know, today on the blog with MML, this same company was on there, and they talked. So if you go back and look at it, you can look at it. It's the blog for today. They even had the Lansing Treasury Department. They talked about all of this that we're talking about now. So just heads up, go to the page. Go to the page, because it's up there. It's telling you about the ARPA, telling you about the problems that we're running into, and how they are advising companies or cities, municipalities, to slow it down. So it's just, I just wanted to share that with y'all, because I don't know if you looked at it today.
I move for the acceptance of consent agenda item number 3.
Support.
Any more discussion? Ms. Flores, you done?
Yep.
Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Item number 13 is to approve a blanket purchase with Angel Armor for $19,000 for ballistic vests for the police department. Councilmember Flores.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure, if you want to come up. Sure. Good to see you. For this amount, is this going to cover all of your officers, or are there going to be additional?
It's not going to cover every officer at the police department. What we do is every 5 years, we replace the vest for the officer. And that's through the collective bargaining agreement that we have with the unions. And this year, that will cover about 15 vests, maybe 16 for this year. And we generally, if you look at a period of over 5 years, every officer will have their vest replaced over a 5-year period.
Okay. So I'm just asking if it's going to be a sufficient amount of funds for you to be able to operate, or if you need additional.
No, I think that should be efficient enough. We know, we keep track of every year from a hiring standpoint of whose vest needs to be replaced in this fiscal year, which we think is about 5 of the present officers. I've got 7 people going to the academy this August, in less than a month from now. When they get out of the academy, they're going to need vests. In January, I'm going to have to put in 2 to 3 more people because of planned retirements that we have next year. So I think that this number of 15 is going to be more than adequate enough for next year.
Great.
Or for this year, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I move to accept this. Oh, do you have something?
No, I'll call him back up.
Oh, go ahead. I'm coming.
Well, let's finish this motion. I got a question to ask you. Go ahead.
I motion to accept the consent agenda item number 13, please.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any more discussion? Let's call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Your question?
I was at a golf outing this weekend with the GAP program.
Yes.
And
Bridge the Gap.
Bridge the Gap. And I understand that they are giving away scholarships again for recruits for you.
I have 2 people from Bridge the Gap that will be going to the academy.
And every year they been giving you 2 or 3, 4 people or?
This is the first year that we're going to get some people. It'll be this August. And we have 2 of them that will begin 3rd week of August at the academy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, your next order of business is board, commission, and committee reports.
Do we have anyone who would like to report any board activity that they may have attended in the last 2 weeks? We're not gonna do 3 times tonight, y'all, okay? Madam Clerk.
Thank you. On our agenda, we have appointment of board and commission members.
We have 2 appointments. We need a motion, right? Okay.
Yes, you can make a motion to approve both of them.
Okay,
leaving
that's
room
what I
for
want to
any
do.
exceptions.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
We are now at ordinance consideration and adoption. Our first one is an ordinance to amend Chapter 94, nuisances, health and safety of Title 9, general regulations by adding sections 94.100 purpose, 94.101 definitions, 94.102 prohibition, and 94.103 violation enforcement.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Our second ordinance tonight is to amend Chapter 72, parking regulations of Title 7, traffic regulations by amending Section 72.99, penalty.
Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Our third ordinance is to amend Chapter 12, boards and commissions of Title I, administrative code by adding Section 12.50, Saginaw Water System Advisory Council.
Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
Quick question. For this particular committee, council, will this be on the committee council website that people can apply for? Or, I saw that you would have the large portion in that one, but I was just wondering if.
I think it may be listed, but it is already full. This was originally established by council resolution, we're just codifying it per that resolution.
Yeah, this is a requirement of the lead and copper rules.
Okay, thank you.
And then I had a quick question. This council is specifically for all issues pertaining to lead in the water only? Or is it more broad than that?
It's really about creation of public policy. We're recommending public policy changes for lead education.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Our last ordinance tonight is to amend Chapter 132, Drug and Alcohol Offenses of Title 13, General Offenses, by amending Section 132.21, Definitions, and Section 132.22, Possession, Manufacture, and Sale of Prohibited Exceptions.
Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
We are now at resolutions. Our first one tonight is approving the cost agreement with the Michigan Department of Transportation for the rehabilitation of the Genesee Avenue Bridge for the engineering section right-of-way division.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Our second resolution tonight is accepting the coronavirus local fiscal recovery funds from the American Rescue Plan Act in the amount of $52,089,151.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved in support. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Holler real loud when it comes to money, don't we? We holler real loud. Any unfinished business?
Very clear.
Yeah, yes, I'd like to know what I have to say comes under unfinished or miscellaneous in regards to a statement made at our last council meeting, so. Does it go, which one does it go with?
I think it would be under miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous.
There's
Okay.
no unfinished.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Mayor, you are now at miscellaneous business.
Yes.
Okay, good evening. I was looking, I had a question on our last meeting in regards to Wix Park and Jibway Island, and I was responded to by the city manager, and I would like to get some clarification, because what we voted on and what was said in our last council meeting did not seem to come together for me. So I would need to get a better understanding, because from my understanding, the $11,000 that council approved for Jibway Island was for the parking lot and not to close vehicle traffic. So am I mistaken? Just tell me where I'm wrong on this, because those two don't seem to fit. I don't see where we had a conversation in regards to closing vehicle traffic to Jibway Island. Just that I was thinking of coming to a happy medium where city staff, our citizens, I've asked a lot. Most seem to agree not to close the island to vehicle traffic, And that since we do now have cameras, that there's other things that can be done in regards to not allowing vehicle traffic. So I guess my question is, or what I need understanding, is to what exactly did we vote for? Because it wasn't my understanding that we voted for no vehicle traffic in Giblet.
I'm looking at the individual who made the motion.
Okay.
And that's Mayor Pro Tem Balls. So you're talking about the minutes to the meeting, and they said parking lot. The discussion that we had at the meeting included the parking lot and 2 gates and guardrails and other things that would limit vehicle traffic. Yes, that's what, if I'm incorrect, then Mayor Pro Tem Balls can correct that, because he's...
It didn't have anything to do with, my motion didn't have anything to do with them closing the park, because I already knew the park was closed. This was just to have it so people can come and park at the park, and they can walk around the park. It wasn't an issue about closing it or not. That was already done deal.
No, I'm talking about the vehicle traffic.
Yes, ma'am.
So I didn't understand that to be part of the motion.
It was not part of the motion.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the park was already closed for vehicle traffic.
Right.
My vote, my motion was just to make a parking lot so people can park here.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, we've got a communication from the city manager, and it had the new layout of the parking arrangement in the front. And we voted. And when we voted, well, when Mayor Pro Tem voted, that's what he was voting on.
Yes.
To just put it in the front, not to close it, but just parking only, so no traffic could go through anymore, except for, that was the exception, special events. Like, we would move it for, like, when people rent the park, because it's done. When they do the Gospel Fest, when they used to do the boat, what is it, Sam, whatever it was, they would move the barricade so that people could go down and get closer. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct, and the outline that was sent to council, I believe it was sent during the meeting when the motion was made, that's the plan that was showed, and I would reiterate, this is similar to what I said about Wix Park, is the park management is a day-to-day operation, which falls under city manager. So that is something that is a decision that I have to make, and I accept input for that, but that was the plan that was sent to council, and that is my understanding that's what was approved. And if you go back and listen to this discussion, I think there was a lot of input, and it is something that can change in the future. Those gates could be open in the future for vehicle traffic. They could be open for special events, but that's the plan that we discussed at the meeting.
Okay, so that's the plan, but that's not what the motion was, to close it for vehicle traffic. And if we're gonna listen to, I mean, the motion itself doesn't say that.
I think my point being for the day-to-day operations is that I don't need a motion to close the island of vehicle traffic. That's part of the day-to-day operation of the city. There can be input that is received, and that's, in my view, that's what we did at that meeting where that motion was approved.
Oh.
I would just ask, though, if there's a possibility, because we're talking about the city hall, the community really working together in unity. And one of the things with parts of Saginaw is Sunday was the day for families to come together, to ride around. That was a great community day for, especially when we talk about the east side of Saginaw, to celebrate and be with each other. So I do understand that it is your decision, but I would ask that we would even look at some of the traditions of the city of Saginaw, where even if it is closed during the week, but maybe on Sunday, when that is typically a day that families come out, or just that we could possibly not completely shut it off to the traditions of our city. And I think it just relates to a lot of Saginaw and things that we may not do, but others have done for years. And that's what I heard. I heard from families and generations who that was their thing on Sunday. So
Yeah, and that's certainly something we can consider, and I had that discussion with Mayor Pro Tem Balls. It's specifically at the time we closed it, there were several incidents at the park, and that's what we want to avoid. I mean, if we did earlier in the meeting talk about the gun violence and other issues that we've had this year, but specifically if there are special events, and I think that would constitute a special event, particularly if you have an organization or a group of people who want to host something like that, then that's definitely something that we can look at. And those are the discussions. I think the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem can confirm that we did have. We've had several times this year. I think since it's been closed with COVID, we've talked about that. So surely those are things that can be done, Councilman.
thank you.
I would hope that it is reconsidered by whomever has the authority to do so, to leave the park open to vehicle traffic. We now have cameras, which we didn't have in the past, to possibly curtail some of that, some of the things that were going on. So that's in my discussion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Y'all, anyone else for the last time? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved in second.
Did you just go to miscellaneous business?
Oh, dear.
You know what? I'm so sorry, Bill. I'm so sorry. You know what? That's what you get when you're not here, honey. You snooze, you lose it. So I'm so sorry, Bill. And I have not counted you in any vote either, and I apologize.
I've heard him. He said.
So, what were you saying?
Okay. I'm gonna do the best I can under miscellaneous business. So I just wanted to have a conversation with the manager tonight. The reason for my conversation is
You already have a motion on the floor.
We got a motion on the floor.
It's out of order. You
Okay.
have a motion and a second to adjourn. There's no debate on that, but.
So, we got a motion to adjourn. Hold that thought, Bill, to next meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye for going home. Aye.
You even voted for it too.
Oh, he's gone.
It's a motion on the floor. Let's get focused, y'all. Let's get focused. Motion on the floor. It's been moved in second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Y'all don't want to go home. All those opposed, adjourn. Thank you all so much for coming.